Hey, this is your host, Rick Houston. Before we get down to business in this week's episode, how about hitting those subscribe, like, and notification buttons? With all that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
Well, speaking of a game, 1991, the Winston, and your engine. What happened?
The truth, I built Geoff Bodine a brand new race car. I mean, nice body, trick, lightweight, killer. I mean, killer. When they went to the racetrack to Charlotte, I sent Mike Hill and Pete Wright down there, and I told them, I said, do not let him get on the racetrack with his car until I get there. And I ain't never had a cavity in my life, but I had a issue because I was smoking cigarettes back then, and I wanted to go to the dentist in Winston-Salem. And I'm in a dentist chair in Winston-Salem, and the office called me. They said, hey, Brewer, said, ain't no need in going to Charlotte, said, and I went, what'd you say? Said, Geoff took the car out and he wrecked it. Do what? He wrecked it. Okay. I just hung the phone up. The dentist said, I think that wasn't a good conversation. I said, no, it ain't going to be a good conversation, I can tell you that. Anyway, I go back to the shop. They pull a truck in there. The right front wheel is in the firewall in the right side where the right side front seat would be set. That's how hard he hit.
Yeah.
You don't go to Charlotte at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's hotter than hell outside and drive off in turn one like they ain't no tomorrow. And he run over something, cut the front tire, and it killed my race car. Killed it. That started it. Enter Tommy Ellis. And Buddy Baker, I love Baker to death, but he had had brain surgery.
Yeah.
And Junior told me, he said, bro, don't let Baker get in that thing. I said, I like Buddy. I'd like to have him, come back and sit in our race car. But, dude, I can't take that responsibility. He said, I'm not going to take that responsibility. Okay, so we got Tommy Ellis to come down here. And Tommy, he come over and fitted the seat and all that stuff. Meanwhile, we're out a lot of money on the race car, and it killed the motor, too. So we go to the racetrack, and we ain't that good with Tommy. We just can't get it hooked up. Anyway, blew a motor. Alternator locked up. Burnt the belt off of it, went down, kicked the dry sump belt of it. Now we're 2 motors out. Okay, Sterling qualifies, he sits on the pole in the Invitational. Well, they take that motor out and they set it over in the corner, put Sterling a new race motor in. And I go to the truck and get me a motor, and Junior says, hey, so why don't you go over and get that damn old motor, took out of Sterling's car and put it in there. I said, A, that's J.V. Raines' motor, and I don't want a damn thing to do with J.V. Raines or his motor. And he said, Brewer, he said, man, we done lost $200,000 down here. He said, just put that motor in it. He said, it ain't going to go nowhere anyway. It ain't going to blow up. Really? And the guy that pumps the motors told J.V. Raines, he said, J.V., that motor right there is right on the borderline of being too big. Don't bring that motor back. J.V. Raines, the con artist that he is, didn't tell Junior, but the guy told him, and I know who the guy was, and I trust him. Didn't say nothing. We go like a bunch of idiots. We put the damn thing in the car, and I told Junior, I said, this ain't good. Knowing the motor's too damn big, knowing they're going to tear every motor down in the field after the race, and that idiot let me put it in that race car. That's the truth of the matter. But we stayed there. We done everything but iced the motor down. And we checked every cylinder. Yeah. We checked the bore. We checked the stroke. And Les Richter, he told me, he said, Tim, we don't enjoy this. But the wrong guy was holding the calculator. The guy that usually holds the calculator wasn't holding it, or it would have been a different story. You know who was holding the calculator?
No.
John Darby. Young John Darby that wanted to make an... And Darby didn't... France was sitting there, and he must have smoked 3 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And like Richter told me, he said, Brewer, we don't enjoy this. I said, you don't enjoy it? I said, dude, blow this deal off. It's 2 3/4 of a cubic inch too big. But I said, I can tell you one thing right now. When I get home, I will jerk a knot in this guy's ass. Now you take that to the bank.
Yeah.
They come back Monday at noon, let everything go neutral. We measured it all again. It come up like 2.58 cubic inches too big. Okay. And France told me, he said, I'll see you in about 4 weeks, Brewer. 4 weeks? What are you, crazy? 4 weeks.
It was initially 12, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that was my point. I pick up the paper the next day, suspended, 12 weeks? What the hell? I called France, I said, thought you said 4 weeks. What the hell are you talking about, Billy? He goes, Brewer, you gotta use a system, man. What do you mean a system?
Yeah.
You gotta appeal it. Really? Gotta appeal it, huh? Jesus. Anyway, sure enough, me and Junior, we go down there and sit in front of the kangaroo court, and we get appealed. I get a phone call at midnight, and I'm living in Pofftown, and I get a phone call at midnight. Brewer, your appeal's been refused. You're out 4 weeks. Well, that's what France told me going in. Why do we have to go through all this bull? Anyway, Rick, at midnight I get out of the bed, and he told me right off the bat, he said, don't show up. You can't show up. Junior can't show up. You're out. When the car shows up, it can't have number 11 on the side of it. Okay. I go to the shop.
Midnight.
I called Junior. Said, hey, they turned our appeal down. Hell, I don't care. I'm going to sleep. Dude, we got to have that car there in the morning. I ain't going. Okay. I went to the shop, backed the car off the truck, peeled the 11s off of it, put the car back in the truck, called Mike and Pete, said, hey, look, I ain't going in the morning. Y'all handle the deal. You know the drill. I called John McKenzie at Motorsports Designs. John, you got to make me some numbers. Brewer, it's 1 in the morning. John, I don't care what time it is. The 11 car is kicked out, can't put the number on it. You got to put me some other kind of number on it. Hell, put whatever you want to on it. I don't care. Okay, I'll get you something down there. Well, I got down there, and they had some weird number, and I don't remember what it was.
97.
Or something.
Wasn't it 97?
That's what it wound up being.
Okay, all right.
And I had to buy a floss owner's license, FIA license, do all this stuff. And anyway, France and Rector, dealing with them guys. Love both of them, but they all made good decisions, but still yet they were trying to help me work the process to get through. And at that time, ESPN was doing a lot of stuff, and it's like, Brewer, if you hit us with a shotgun, we're going to hit you with a cannon. Oh, I know the drill. I know it. Ain't no big deal.
Yeah.
They said if you or Junior show up at Indianapolis in a broadcast booth, it's not going to look too pretty. But this is the deal. Tell Junior to get on his bulldozer and go for a ride. You go do whatever you're going to do. And if we don't see you for 4 weeks, when you come back, we're going to give you your winter circle plan back. And at that time, I was about $160,000.
Yeah.
So I told Junior, I said, go ride something. Go tear something up, So we didn't show up. And Pete and Mike Hill, they took care of the car. And, everybody they fell in and done their jobs. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Bodine, he's healed up, and he's coming back, and he's got his new NASA flak jacket. And I'm thinking, you think that thing's going to stop anything? Like hell it will. Anyway, I go home and I build me another race car, just like I did for Charlotte. Except I kind of got a grudge. I'm kind of a little pissed off.
Now you're mad.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And Junior come down there, and everybody's working on a car, and he's looking at that thing. He goes, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean, what am I doing? He said, Brewer, you can throw a house cat under that template at the rear window of that car. He says, how are you going to get that through? Don't worry about it. I'll handle it. And I'll never forget when I got to Michigan, Michael Waltrip, he had some trick deal on his tires. He sat on the pole, we sat on the outside with Bodine. When they dropped that green flag, we left out of there. And that damn Venturini had the dampener come off his car, and it took the oil pan off my car. We're leading the race, just checking out. And I'll never forget, the guy was putting the templates on the car. He looked at that car, he said, Brewer, will that car fit the template? I said, hell no. He said, well, I ain't going to put it on there then. But, Rick, you could put your fist between the template and the rear roof of that car. I mean, it's like, it was a fastback for sure then. But everybody says, where are you going to run this car? I said, I'm going to run as long as I got to putting a template on it. But, I mean, it was a game.
Yeah.
You know, they kicked me out. Okay, that's fine. When I come back, I'm going to haunt your ass. I'm going to haunt you every way I can.